the Red Light Racing Podcast.
Hello, and I'm welcome back, by the way. Hello, if you welcome back to podcast. This is number 3 of my series of podcasts. I don't know what I'm going to call it. It's not really a series, but I am going to put a hashtag number with every episode. I didn't do it my first episode, and I listened back to yesterday's podcast, and I had the same music at the beginning and at the ending. It was meant to be slightly different, but I made a mistake. But, you know, it's a learning curve. It's number 3, and I think it's going okay. I've got myself a glass of milk beside me. Don't know why. I do know why. When I was speaking yesterday, I kept getting a bit of a dry throat, so just kept having a little sip of water. But for today, I've got some milk, which may be a little bit dangerous. Might make me burp a little bit. So you may hear throughout this podcast me belching. Not too aggressively. Hopefully not anyway. But yeah, today's been a bit of a weird one, and I'm going to be going over my predictions for this weekend and where I think the drivers are going to end up. But I thought I want you guys to learn a little bit more about me. And how I'm going to do this is I'm going to grab my phone, and for some reason I boot my laptop up, and it is going through all of the Discord pop-up ads, and I don't want them to be there. I kind of want them to fuck off. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my phone, and I'm going to go on Spotify, so you guys understand the type of music I listen to. I've got like 4,000 songs on my Spotify. This could go really bad, or it could be quite funny. But I'm just going to hit shuffle, and we're going to have just a little moment to enjoy the type of music I listen to, so you know a little bit more about me. But let's go. So let's just press play the song. Okay. So this is the first song. So, Jamie XX, Good Times. That's going to be good times. Good times. That's going to be good. Skipped it. Yeah, that's for today's song. Fuck it. If you want to listen to it, you can. It's Jamie XXX. That's going to be good times. I sound like a BBC radio host. I'm not, I promise. So, yeah. Also today, after finishing work, I did some like private work, and I went to someone's. I cut their garden, and I needed a wee so fucking bad, like so bad, and I felt bad going, can I go into your bathroom and have a piss? So I didn't ask, and I had the longest wee of my life when I got home. I'm not joking. I thought it was like it should take 20 seconds to empty your bladder from like full. I reckon mine was like a minute. So that was a bit of a fucking wake-up call, how much I needed a piss. And yeah, that was that. So yeah, just a few little bits about my day, and I hope you've had a nice day too. So I'm going to be going over a list of where I think each driver is going to go this weekend. This is a bit of a guess because I'm not going to be around tomorrow to watch practice or qualifying on Saturday. I am busy. I'm seeing my girlfriend, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. I am really looking forward to seeing. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to do this now, and I have got no insight at all of which car is quick and which ones are slow. We've only got testing, and loads of people are making remarks online saying, this looks like it could be really quick. They look really quick, yada, yada, yada. I'm doing it off what I feel from what I read from the testing, and, you know, all of us know the drivers. If you don't, they're great. They're great people, I'd assume. I've not met any of them. But I'm going to go from 20th to 1st, and I'm going to go through them and why. So in 20th place, I put Gabriele Bortoleto. I think the Kick Sauber isn't a strong car at all. At all. I don't think it's going to be a decent car at all for the whole season. It may change. It might be race one. My brain might be like, oh my God, I got this completely wrong. But in testing, it looked shite. The car looks awful in that green and black like paint job. You may not agree with me, but that's how I see it. And again, in this podcast, I'm going to be saying things. None of it is literal. It's only my opinion and how I feel about the car or the driver or the scenario I am discussing at that time. But I think Gabriel's going to have a bit of a hard time this weekend. He may even crash out. I think he's a decent driver. Again, we haven't seen him in an F1 car, but, you know, he won last year in F2. And that sometimes means something, and sometimes it means absolutely jack shit. So I'm hoping it means something for him, and it'd be nice to see him do quite well. But I'm putting him in 20th place, so I don't think he's going to do that well at all. So sorry, Gabriel. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a crash, but in 19th place, I've put Esteban Ocon. The Haas, I don't think it's going to be that bad at all. I really don't. I think it's actually going to be a pretty decent car. I don't think this 19th place represents Esteban Ocon's whole race. I think it's actually going to do... Oh my God, that came out fucking completely wrong. I think Esteban Ocon's actually going to have a decent race, but I think he's either going to pick up an issue or somewhere in the race where it sets him back to 19th, because I don't think his driving and the car itself should be at 19th. This is just my own thinking of how he does drive quite a lot in his career. He's quite aggressive. I know he don't always get into scenarios, but it's in a midfield car like he's used to. But that whole new team dynamic between him and Ollie Behrman, it could get a little bit fruity. And I think a few of them, like Aston Martins and the Haas, are going to be very similar with like race pace this year. So there might be a little bit of an altercation between the Haas car and the Aston Martin. I hope there is. And I think the driver who probably would be getting a little bit of a love tap would be Lance Stroll. So in 18th place, I put Lance Stroll. Kind of like what I've just covered there with Esteban. He is a quick driver at times with Lance Stroll. Again, I emphasise at times. And I apologise if you're a Canadian listening to this podcast and I'm upsetting you with any of these comments about Lance Stroll. I've been traumatised for many years with his crashes and I can't get over it. And that's why I talk quite negatively of him. And I'm not against him as a person. It's just with his F1 stuff, what I've seen with him. It does get a little bit... I just don't know what's going to happen. If there isn't a crash, I'm shocked. And if there's a crash in a race and I don't know, if I haven't read the headline or haven't seen the race and there's a crash, I instantly think Lance Stroll. It used to be Logan Sargent would be the guy, or Mazepin, but they're not in there anymore. And Stroll was the big one out of the three. They were the three people I was to go, oh, fucking hell, here comes another crash. So I've put him in 18th. I don't think the Aston Martin's going to be at all quick for this season. I think by the sounds of it, they've struggled quite a lot with their testing and other things too. I can't see them having a great season, but I think Alonso, the GOAT, is going to put that car in places where it shouldn't be. And I think a lot of other people share that opinion, and because we have that opinion because we've seen him do it time and time again and again. So yeah, I think Alonso's going to do quite well, but we're going to get there further on in a minute. Sorry, I just had another sip of milk. Again, you don't know I just did that because I paused it perfectly. And I just had a little sip of the milk juice from a cow's tit. And it's full fat, none of that semi-skimmed bollocks. I got the big blue top. But in 17th, I'm going to go with Isaac Hadjar. Again, if you listen to yesterday's podcast, I can't pronounce his name, and I really do apologise to anyone who is an Isaac Hadjar fan. See, I can't do it. It doesn't help that I've got half my mouth is full of milk, even though I've swallowed it. Hang on, what the fuck? Okay, let's move on from what I just said. But I think the V-Carb looks shite. It's a beautiful car. I'm kind of contradicting myself there. I just said it looks shite, but it's a beautiful car. The car itself looks beautiful. Probably one of the best looking cars on the grid this year. But it doesn't look great with the pace. And it looks like it's really hard to control. They both of the drivers, Yuki and Isaac Hadjar, has had issues controlling that car in testing. Unless they sort it out, I think they're going to have a bit of a fucking issue at the beginning of the season. And it's very much boom, 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 race at the beginning of the season. So they're going to have to either sink or swim. And I think they're going to slowly get their form back, because I think Red Bull are going to be depending on them a bit more and more in the future with helping to actually defend against these better teams. And I'm looking forward to that day when V-Carb actually get some love from their like sister team, their mother team. Because at the moment, they're not really getting much. But I think Isaac Hadjar, great driver. You know, people saying he should have won F2 last year. There's that clip of him at Monaco with the guy who's crashed, and his reaction time is perfect. But yeah, I don't think he's going to have a great race. I think that car is going to be an absolute cunt to control. I think he's probably going to spin out a bit. He may even go into barrier. He may even go DNF, but I've put him in 17th just because of the car. Not as him as a driver. The car doesn't look great. Why do I keep saying that? The car doesn't look quick. It looks perfect, but it doesn't look quick. And then in 16th place, I put Nico Hulkenberg. So I put the second the second Kick Sauber driver 4 positions above his teammate, Gabriel. The only reason why I'm putting him there, again, Isaac's probably had a bit of a shit show. Esteban, like I've said, and Stroll probably had a bit of an incident. Hulkenberg's he's got the experience. He's a very solid driver. So a driver you can depend on with, I don't know, picking up a cake for your wedding and driving it 120 miles an hour down a country lane. I feel like I could give him the job to do that and he would do it. And he would be cool, calm and collected. He'd brush his little blonde hair back and just walk into the wedding venue with his glasses on and just takes them off and goes, here's your fucking cake. And I feel like I can trust him with that. So that's why I put him in 16th, because I can trust him with cake. And I think he's a quick driver, very reliable driver. He could have been massive. He still is a really big driver, but if you knew his history, he lost. What seat was it? Was it? Oh my god, Michael Schumacher take his seat or something, and he missed out on the opportunity, or was it Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes or McLaren? It was one of the two. I'm having a bit of a brain fart here, but he had the opportunity to be fucking Billy Big Dick, and he just didn't get that opportunity, which is a shame because he's great. And in 50th place, I've gone for Yuki Tsunoda, Isaac Hadjar's teammate. I know, we might have to do like a drinking game today with how many times I mispronounce Isaac Hadjar's name and how many times I pronounce it. So if you have a shot each time, that'd be funny as fuck. You will be slurring your words. If you're driving to work or having a poo right now, well done. I can't believe listening to me whilst this is going on. I appreciate that. Squeeze! Watch out, there's a kid running in the middle of the road. Oh shit! And if you're on speaker, I'm just going to shout, he's stealing! Fuck, don't know, just a bit of a moment here. But I put Yuki Tsunoda in 15th place. I think he's a decent, reliable driver. Again, quite an emotional driver. He's going to make quite a lot of mistakes this year, like he tends to. But that's not a bad thing. He's honestly is one of my favourite drivers on the grid. Even though I say that quite a lot, I've got like 6 or 7 of them I adore, and he's in that 7. But yeah, I don't think the car is great. Like I said, it's got handling issues, what we saw in testing. Maybe they fixed it in that time. We've got practice on Friday, so they may be fine-tuning that before the qualifying on Saturday, which makes fucking sense. I know I don't want to be mansplaining to you what F1 is, but I just did that. But I've put Yuki in 15th. Now, in 14th, I can see this happening quite a lot during this season, unfortunately. It's only because the teams above them, the Aston Martin team, so I've got hiccups now, which is not great. I'm hiccuping, burping, all sorts into your ears, so I do apologise. But I've put Alonso in 14th. So the Aston Martins, I think, are roughly going to be around 14th, 16th quite a lot of the season. Only reason for it is because the teams above them look fucking good. Very good. And the Aston Martins don't look great. They don't. And if you're an Aston Martin fan, like a lot of people are, I do apologise. I don't mean to be shitting on Lance Stroll every moment I can. I just will. But I think Alonso, again, he's going to put that car in places where it shouldn't be. He's really going to be trying this year. I'm not saying he never doesn't ever try. He always does try. But sometimes you can see he does give up a little bit. If he's like, just, I've had enough of his car. If you know, you know. He sometimes just plays it off a little bit, but he tries to make out that he's really pushing and all of that. And I think sometimes he doesn't because he's genuinely just pissed off, and it's very apparent when he is. It's funny, but yeah, I can't see Aston Martin having a great season. And Alonso's going to do quite well this season, but again, I don't know how many points they're going to do. I'll be surprised if they make over 60 points over the course of the year, just because how shit the Aston Martin does look. It doesn't look great at all, but Alonso's going to do quite well. He's probably going to have a majority of those points, as we probably have established with my opinion with his teammate. But yeah, good luck to Aston Martin this year, and I hope they do crawl a bit back. And I hope Adrian Newey can actually get his fingers into the car and help with the designing process a little bit more, because it'd be nice to see a racing green F1 car at the front, like we saw a few years ago. So in 13th place, I've gone Jack Doohan. So I think the Alpines, well, especially last year, towards the end of last year, the Alpines actually looked really quick. And they didn't look too bad in testing, very similar to the Williams. Again, testing, I'm kind of contradicting myself. Again, can't speak. It's been a long day. It's 6:30 for me at the moment of the time of this recording, and I've been up since 5:30. So I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I am, because I love you. But yeah, Jack Doohan the Alpine, I think he's not going to do as well as his teammates. It's his first race, and it's a home race, which I can't wait to see the crowd, if they love him or hate him. I saw Helmut Marko say that Jack Doohan is a C driver. What a twat. Like, leave him alone. He's in F1. If he's a C driver or B driver or an A driver, don't make stupid remarks and try and get in people's heads and trying to speed the process up. I just don't really like it. I know he really wants to get Carlo Pinto in there, because I think he wants to see how good Carlo Pinto is in an F1 car this season. So if Liam's not great, I'm sure they would try and grab him, even though Alpine have signed this multi-year contract. I just feel like Red Bull are very slimy, and I don't know what Max's future is with Red Bull, because George Russell's contract hasn't been extended yet. I think it will, but his contract ends this year, George's contract. And I know for a fact Toto is waiting to see if the Red Bull car is shite. And if it is, he's definitely going to be flirting with the idea of trying to grab Max, let's face it. And he always talks about Max. He did last season when Lewis had left, and he was like going, oh, I'll try and get Max, we'll try and get Max. So I hope for George's sake, he gets a contract deal pretty soon. Because I saw Piastri get his contract extension, and it's now rumoured to be getting paid the same amount as Lando Norris. So hopefully, George gets a little bit of a seal as a deal and gets a bit of that tension away from him, because that'd be a bit unnecessary, especially when he's actually trying to do quite well for the team. So in 11th place, in 12th place, I've put Ollie Behrman. I think he's going to be the better of the two Haas drivers. Like I said in the previous podcast, him and the rookies, they've got a point to prove, especially Ollie Behrman and Kimi Antonelli. I think they both got to really prove to everyone like the hype, because they're the two rookies who've got the most hype. More Kimi, because he's in a Mercedes, than Ollie Behrman, because he's in a Haas. Also, can we just take a minute to be excited for the weather forecast for Sunday? It looks wank. It looks awful. And I'm all for it. Saturday looks cloudy. Sunday is like rain all fucking day. I'm not sure the timing of the race, but I looked on the weather forecast. It looks like a fucking shitstorm of rain coming on Sunday. So perfect. And let's just sprinkle a few rookies in there. Fucking bedlam. It's going to be people crashing everywhere, spins, all sorts. I think this race is going to be fucking full on. And I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it, as we all are, because it's the first race of the season. But I think this one in particular is going to be a little bit crazy. But going back to Ollie in P12, I think he's going to get that one. I think he's going to do a really good job. He struggled a bit last year when he had a bit of a go with the cars and it was wet. So did Kimi. So let's see what he deals with Melbourne. So good luck to Ollie. I've got high hopes for him this year. I really do. I think a few people share that and some people don't. But I always think back to that P7 at Ferrari, baby. And it's always going to stay with me. His debut race. To literally probably will for his whole career. I will always think that. And I think he's got a decent future if he can continue that. His neck's massive as well, by the way. But right, we're going to go to Ollie Behrman. That's really long. And we're going to go to Alex Albon. Oh my God, I just went to Ollie Behrman twice there. We're going to go to Alex Albon. So I've put Alex in 11th place. I think he's going to do well for Williams. I think Williams are very quick this year. They look it anyway. Again, testing, who knows? But they put an ounce of fuel in their car, and Sainz got the top speed on the second day of testing. Looked very good. I think the Williams have to perform, because James Vowles has just spent all this fucking money. It was Williams' money on a driver, and they don't want this driver on all this money to go to waste. They actually want to see results with the two drivers. And I think the two of them are fantastic drivers. This is going to be a real challenge for Alex Albon because he hasn't had a teammate like this since he was in Red Bull racing with Max Verstappen. So this Sainz is similar caliber to Max, not as great. And I love Carlos Sainz, ex-Ferrari driver. Absolutely adored him in Ferrari. But this is going to be a real challenge for Alex Albon. And I noticed when he was racing with Carlo Pinto last year, he can get quite nervy too. He's a very emotional driver too. He's a great driver, fantastic driver, Alex. He's got all that pedigree with how he was in karting and F2, and he's a great guy as well. He's a great driver and all that shit. But I think Sainz has got him just about. That's my opinion. Now in P10, I put Pierre Gasly. I think again that Alpine looks fucking rapid. I think it's a very quick car. Pierre Gasly, he's had his hair transplant. I don't give a fuck what people say, but I feel like Jack Doohan has shaved his head off for Pierre Gasly because he went to Turkey and got his hair transplant. Jack Doohan shaved his hair off to support his teammate to make sure not everyone's looking at his hair, which I think is a really good team thing to do. By the way, I am joking, but I'm also not. I can also believe that this did actually genuinely happen because it's very ironic that both of them look like the person from GTA 4. The Russian mafia guy who you play as. Very, really, really weird, but I fucking love it. But I put Pierre Gasly in P10. Quick car. He's confident. He's had a good end to last season. Alpine are all behind him. And I think he's going to do quite well. In ninth place, I've put the first out of the Mercedes drivers. I put Kimi Antonelli. I just don't think he's going to be as quick as some of the drivers he's going to be racing against towards the front of the field on his first race. Again, a lot of pressure on his little shoulders, bless him. He's got George as a teammate. He's going to learn a lot from him with his mentality. And I think George is going to learn a lot from Kimi with his aggression. I'm not saying George isn't aggressive, but I think Kimi's like uber aggressive, which I'm looking forward to seeing. And I think that's either going to be a really good thing for Kimi or a really bad thing for Kimi. He's going to make simple mistakes because he's over pushing and he's just doing too much. Fucking bam, thank you, man. But yeah, Kimi I put in ninth place. And good luck to Kimi. By the way, I'm not slagging him off. I'm not saying ninth's not great. Ninth's really good for your first debut race, but it's just the cars he's going to be racing against and the drivers he's driving against. It's going to be fucking hard. So in P8, I've got Carlos Sainz. I've put him, again, a few spaces above his teammate. He's just different gravy from what we've all seen, from what I've seen at Ferrari anyway. He's a great driver, someone you can rely on, someone who's wanting to prove himself. Apparently his dad is rumoured to still not be happy that he didn't sign for the Audi contract for next year with Kick. I don't understand why he's bringing that up, because at the end of the day, he can still go there. Sainz can still go to Audi in like 2 years' time when the team is like well established and all of that. He hasn't got to go through all this hard work of working from Kick Sauber, who I've put in 20th place, well, the driver in 20th place. I just think it's a waste of his time of progressing. Like, at least he's going to be in a seat, in a car, which is respected across the grid. It's a reasonably quick car, so he can still show off his technical abilities and driving skills and prowess. Then he wouldn't be able to do that in a Kick Sauber. He really wouldn't be able to. And it gives him opportunities to be in a pretty decent-ish car to show to the other teams what they're missing out. And if a job comes up, like for example, Mercedes with George Russell, if they don't re-sign him and they don't get Max, and you just don't know how F1 crazy season can be. It's all over the fucking shop, isn't it? But I think someone's going to come 8th. Again, a reliable, quick driver, and he's going to get a fucking load of points for Williams this year, how I see it. And I'm going to call myself the Oracle with this because I think he's going to do quite well. So in P7, I've put the first of the Red Bulls. I've gone for Liam Lawson. I think Liam Lawson's going to be 7th place this weekend. Again, it's his neighbour track. He's a Kiwi. He's not an Aussie. But again, a lot of home love for him, I think, and a lot of pressure because it's close to home. And New Zealand don't have a Grand Prix, which is a shame, so it'd be really cool if it did have one. But yeah, I think Liam's going to have a lot of pressure. Again, it's his first race in the Red Bull. Like the first time we're going to see him in a Red Bull car racing. I know he's in testing, which is a bit stupid me saying that's the first time because it isn't. It's actually like the 4th or 5th time. But yeah, I think Liam's going to have a decent race. It's just the drivers ahead of him. And I also think Sainz might even take his place. It's just down to the car and how they've dealt with things. But Sainz is just nothing gravy. But yeah, Liam's going to have a decent race. I don't think he's going to get too bad with like incidents and stuff. I don't think he's going to qualify awfully high either, because I don't think his qualifying is amazing. But I think his race pace is always pretty good. He's very aggressive. He does dive. He makes like aggressive moves, which is going to bring him up further from the grid. But yeah, I can't see him outshining the guys I've got ahead of him. So in P6, I've put George Russell. Again, I don't think the Mercedes are really that quick this start of the season. In testing, they didn't look great. They didn't look bad. They looked okay. But I think Mercedes still aren't getting as much love as that they deserve at the moment. But they're not getting it from me at this moment in time. They're not going to get it because I feel like Oscar Piastri and other drivers are going to do pretty fucking well. But yeah, George is going to be quick. Again, he's probably not going to be happy with the car. I think he's going to be a bit of a diva, like I said yesterday. And if you listen to yesterday's podcast or previous podcast, I said the word diva about 55 times. So I do apologise if you, by the end of it, wanted to fucking top yourself listening to that word so many times. But yeah, I put George in P6. Now in P5, I put Oscar Piastri. McLaren's look really strong. Again, the other cars look fucking strong too. It's really hard to gauge because he could be P5 or he could be P1, P2. I think this top 10 is stupidly hard to gauge. This could be anywhere. Any of these drivers I've gone through from, probably like even from P11. Yeah, from P11 to fucking P1, really, any of them could be fucking like first place. It could be down to the fucking wire and down to the race strategy at the end of the day, like most races are, but I think race strategies could have a massive, massive impact on the outcome of this race, not just driver skill and speed of the car. So I think they're quite very... Well, McLaren are rumoured to be like almost like a second quicker and like long lap pace or whatever it was. But I don't know. None of us know. It's all speculation. But I've put Oscar Piastri in P5. Again, he could win it. He could come second. He could come 20th. That's the nature of the beast. But in fourth place, I've put Lewis Hamilton. I think this is, again, all of these drivers, I can't gauge off too much because they're all incredible. And it's going to be a really tight season. Well, start to this season, I think, anyway. But Lewis is his first race in Ferrari. Bit of pressure there. He wants to perform. But Leclerc's also under a lot of pressure to outperform him. So it's between these two Ferrari drivers, they're going to be neck and neck. They've got to be neck and neck because if Lewis is fucking 9th place, which is a chance, and Leclerc's second or first, people are going to be saying straight away what a stupid signing it was grabbing Lewis Hamilton. I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan now. I'm a Ferrari fan forever. He's now in the team. So I hope for his sake and for Ferrari's sake, he performs. I'm sure he will. He looks really cool, calm and collected. Like I said, he looks comfortable in a Ferrari car. He didn't look comfortable in the Mercedes in the last few years. He actually looked like he was getting fed up with it, which is funny. Not, shouldn't laugh at people's downfalls, but I don't think he was having a great time in that car. But he's going to come 4th place. Again, a respectable 4th place. Now we're on to the podium. And in 3rd place, I've put Leclerc. Again, I can see him win it. I can see him come wherever. I really don't know, but I've gone Leclerc just out of feelings and how I kind of feel like it's going to go. But Ferraris look strong, I think. And again, we haven't watched practice and I haven't watched qualifying and I haven't watched race yet. This could all be wrong. They could be shite or they could be really, really good. But I put Leclerc in 3rd. And again, I think it's going to be pretty close. Again, going to be down to like a race strategy, tyre strat, whatever. Maybe an incident, like I said earlier, it might be a bit of a collision with maybe Esteban or whoever. Maybe like a little flag. And it's just going to spice it up a little bit. And I really hope Ferrari have no issues with their car this year. But I think they probably will. And in 2nd place, I put Lando Norris. I think it's going to be, again, close. Again, off vibes, the McLaren's look really strong. He could probably win this race by fucking 28 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. And I also wouldn't be surprised if he came 2nd place. It's crazy. And I love it. I think everyone does. I think a lot of people who are making these predictions this week are going to struggle with who they're going to put where because there's no information out there. And people who are saying they know are talking out of their fucking asshole. I'm telling you now. And I'm sure you're saying the same thing. Like, this guy has no idea. Why am I listening to him? I appreciate you listening to me, by the way. Thanks for listening to me. Love you. So yeah, he's going to be second place. And I put first place Max. Solely out of vibes. He's a great driver, the best on the grid at the moment, at this current moment in time. From last season, he's won the World Championship in the season before and all of that. So yeah, I'm putting him number one because why not? Even though maybe the car isn't as great as the McLaren's, but he wasn't last year and he still won the World Championship. So I'm not putting it past Max. He is just different gravy. He's incredible. So that's where I've got it. So I've got Max 1, Lando 2, Leclerc 3, Lewis 4, Piastri 5, George 6, Liam 7, Sainz in 8th, 9th Kimi, 10th Pierre Gasly, 11th Alex Albon, 12th Ollie Behrman, Jack Doohan in 13th, 14th Alonso, 15th Yuki Tsunoda, 16th Hulkenberg, 17th Isaac Hadjar, 18th Lance Stroll, 19th Esteban Ocon, and 20th Gabriel Bortoleto. So that is my readings of today. So hopefully I get a few of these right. And yeah, it could be quite cool. If anyone is interested, has anyone watched the Stitch live action trailer? If you have, I think it looks really cool. I generally do. I think it looks like a fun movie. I think Disney have been making some shite movies as of recently. That new Snow White movie looks atrocious. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. They're ruining Marvel. I think there are like Age of Ultron and Endgame and all of that were great, and everything since then, except from Loki and WandaVision and Moon Knight, has been absolutely shambolic. Everyone else might have different opinions to this, but I'm just saying this on this F1 podcast, which is not relevant, but you're listening to me and you're going to learn a little bit about me as a person, so fuck it. Yeah, the Stitch trailer looks really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. Big Stitch fan, so big up Stitch and Lilo. So that should be cool. On Lewis's Instagram, he released a video yesterday of Ferris Bueller's Big Day Off, or whatever it is, or Bueller's Day Off, and he played the car guy who grabs your car and drives it to a parking space, valet guy. And it was brilliant. Really, really good video. Really well done, whoever he did it with. Fantastic. And you've also got Lewis and Charles Leclerc doing their Peroni video. If you haven't seen this, have a look at it. It's fucking funny. So like the last shot, the camera like pans down to Lewis and Leclerc on this beautiful patio on this like mansion, drinking Peroni 0%. But it is so clear that the two people who are sat like looking at each other are body doubles. Leclerc and Lewis are used throughout the trailer, but for some fucking reason, they were like, we're not going to use them at the end. Some guy had an amazing idea about 2 weeks after recording that why don't we get a video, like a pan of them two looking at each other and like cheersing or whatever they did. It looked so shit, Peroni. Just you should have cut it out. It looks awful, but that was funny. And what else is there? I think that's about it. Oh yeah, who else is waking up at 3:30 for this race on Sunday? Because I will be, and my girlfriend will not be appreciating that. But she can enjoy it with me if she wants to. But I doubt she want to wake up at 3:30 to watch the 4 o'clock start. And I can't bloody wait. So good luck to everyone who is watching the race on Sunday. You'll hear from me potentially Sunday, Monday, talking about the race and how wrong I was or how right I was and how I got every single one right or I got every single one wrong. And that's the best thing about F1. No one knows, and that's why I love the sport. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, guys, if you've made it through to here. And if you haven't, if you want to, drop me a follow because I really appreciate it, and I will be uploading often. I don't know how often, just doing it off when I need to and when I feel like it. And if you could give me a 5-star review, that'd be fantastic too. But don't feel like you have to. Just helps out the channel, helps the growth of it. And yeah, thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed the podcast, guys. Have a lovely day, morning, evening. Enjoy your poo. Have a safe drive. All of that bollocks. I will speak to you later. Take care, guys. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Red Line Racing